time off, but now we're back into the swing. Holidays are behind us for a couple of months, coming back real
No, they're putting
quick.
up Christmas. They're putting up Christmas at Walmart. I saw. They started already.
Have they started already? It's getting worse and
No,
worse every year.
they jumped to Halloween pretty soon.
By the way, everybody, this is Mr. Bill Perry, straight from California for us. Hi, Bill.
And this is my burned out apartment. No, that's not true. That's just a backdrop. No, we're still good out here. We're still standing. You know, got just enough.
Oh,
Just enough. I have to. If you see me on cycling like this, that's why I'm getting electricity for the next. Keeping the internet running. No, we're good
don't
out
let him
here.
fool you. He just told us about his generator.
It's true. But how are you guys? Gosh, it feels like it's been 10 years since I saw you guys. It wasn't even 6 months ago,
I know. Has
but
it
it was
been that
lovely.
long?
I guess it has
It
been a
was.
bit.
It
I don't
has.
know.
I
I can't
missed you,
remember the
Bill.
last thing I remembered.
Well, that's just because you're getting older. Sorry.
What? I am?
Happens to me.
I haven't got
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Benjamin Button
Happens.
thing. I'm bald like a baby and hairless and, crapping myself, that sort of thing.
It goes with it,
It
It's
comes
all
with the
part of it.
territory.
It does.
And you're feeling better? That's good to see you back on the show. Missed you, you know? You get to where I watch all the shows from all the different people that on the web network, and I tune in when I can, and when you see somebody missing, it's like, hey, what's up? I need my fix. You know, where's my spooky?
You're the one that's been missing me.
That's true.
Oh, you're the one.
Yeah, yeah. Where's my other viewer?
Exactly. Yeah, boy. COVID is a bear, boy. I tell you, it was
Yeah,
it was tough to get through that, but yeah,
back
it's
up
just good
and
to have
running.
the holidays over. Yeah, yeah, that sucked. But now we're swinging into 2025.
Can you believe it?
Bill's got some cool news though. Bill
Yeah,
has, yeah.
I got some good
So
stuff.
we're going to talk about. Wow.
This year
I,
is the year that we will be making a movie of my book called By His Hand. And my first book, my first screenplay, and it looks like we're going to be starting up. We may not get started all the way until September because the longer we wait, the more money we get. And the more money we get, the easier it is to make. But
oh,
got a
really?
bunch of really smart people, way smarter than me. Um, and it's such a wonderful thing to do. It's very collaborative. You find somebody and you go, look, this is my vision. And he's like, can I do you one better? It's like, please, whatever you got in mind. What do you think? And so you start working, and it's what's always been the fun about working on a film is you get people who are desperately creative. They just live and to do this kind of stuff. And if you give them something that really kind of blows their mind, and my script is people think of me as being very funny. My book ain't funny. It's very spooky. It's very dark. It's very gnarly. And so when the guy read it, my some of the directors of photography I've talked to and said, "You're kind of you're kind of screwed up, dude. You know, I'm not eating with you. Don't bring Danishes, and you'll know why if you understand the book." Uh, so it's been um, it's been really fun to talk to people about taking this nightmarish vision I've got and saying, how would you film it? How would you bring that to people in such a way that it's disturbing? And my son is a musician, is going to be doing the music for us, and
Oh,
so he's
cool.
doing this custom spooky soundtrack that, as the story progresses, things get a little sort of disorienting and weird and spooky, and so just having control over every last bit of it is fun. You know, uh,
That
it's
is
like
so cool. It's
you
almost
know
like a family kind of project. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember watching Wes Craven work on a few films, and people would ask, what was it like to work with Wes? And I said, and I now totally understand what he did. He'd say, you spend a year trying to get everything together. You want to get the sets, you want to get the people, you want to get the cameras and the photo, and all the different parts and pieces. But when you get to the making of the movie, it's like having real live uh, GI Joes. And I'm gonna put this one here, and we'll put this one here, and then bing, bing, bing. But you have the sets, and you have the music, and you have the story, and you get to ask people to play out the vision that you have in your head. And you get people who are smarter and more creative and more, specialized at their skills, and they give you things you couldn't imagine, or you didn't imagine. And so you get to make something come to life. And for me, when somebody reads the book and they say, I cried. This one scene just broke my heart. And I think, that's awesome. I traumatized you. How cool is
That's so
that? Yeah.
cool.
Because you do a movie and you got 100 people, maybe 1,000 people, who knows how many, all working on the film, and you all make this one thing. But in the book, just by myself, I created something that affects people in a very emotional way. And that's my little creation. That's my little thing that I did. And I created a character that was real enough to you that when something happened to him or her, it really got to you. And that's a really fun feeling to know that my art actually got a reaction that was enough that, you teared up or you were shocked. And people have told me they stopped reading for 3 days because it kind of screwed them up. And I'm like,
Wow.
again, you're welcome. Cool. Yeah, I that's very cool. And am I seeing Ben Bracken?
You are. Hi, Ben.
Is he on? Can he hear us?
Yeah,
There
he
he
can
is.
hear.
How you doing, man? Are you up and around? Are you bench pressing alligators and
You
wrestling?
never know what Ben's going to do.
Yeah. I say that, and then I think it would be just as like Ben to go, well, yeah, of course I am. That's what I do for a living. That's what I do.
It's true. Well,
That's
of
like
course, that's
asking,
what
do
I
you
do.
breathe, Bill? Yes, I'm wrestling an alligator. I'm doing that right now. We got married last year. How are you, sir? Are you feeling better?
He says, I'm doing okay since my latest surgery.
Yeah. He
That's
had another
right.
one? It was just one or two now?
That would make two, right?
Maybe two?
I think
Well, Ben, I'm
so.
told the transition's difficult, but come out to Los Angeles. We'll accept you just the way you are, man or woman. I love that he has no ability to fight back with this. He's
He says,
typing
he'll,
frantically, no, shoulder surgery.
he's trying to keep up.
Sorry, Ben, you are at my mercy now.
He says it's the third surgery.
Oh, gosh. Well,
Oh, that's no
prayers for you,
excuse.
my brother. Prayers for you. I've been through that kind of stuff. I never enjoyed it, no matter what anybody says.
No,
Anybody tells you, "Oh, morphine's great." No, it ain't.
no, it's
No,
not.
no. I don't
No.
know why anybody would get addicted to that nasty stuff.
Makes me sick.
Me
Ooh.
too. Me too.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, it goes right to
Yeah.
the stomach and it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Don't need it. But also
Don't.
got some other things going on. We also got some shows going. If you got any of your lovely listeners are going to be in Ohio, going to be doing a show
Oh,
out there called Cinema Wastelands. Going to be fun. Uh-oh, more metal in the neck. God, he's like the Terminator. He's more machine than man. Can't stand morphine. Well, good. That's not a good thing to get hooked on, I'm told.
yeah, yeah. We don't want you on morphine anyway, Ben.
No, you're hard enough to understand with that accent and everything.
Exactly. Exactly. You're just making it harder for us.
Starts sounding like boom hour. You're going to go get to bed and go to bed. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Yeah, and I'm going to keep drinking this. By the way, I just got over the flu myself, and I'm a little raspy, so my dulcet speaking tones are a little raspy.
I think you sound fine.
Sound all right? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I
Yeah, yeah.
try to get my Morgan Freeman going. What accent he says?
What what accent?
It's
Dan, honey,
you
you
know it's
do.
funny. The other day somebody said to me that I had a California accent, and I got all offended as we do, um, because I don't think Californians have an accent. And then somebody
I
said,
don't think
spell the word Y or say the word YOUR in a sentence. And I said, like we're coming over to your house. And they said, yeah. What? They said, you didn't hear it. Like, we're coming over to your house. They said, your house. Your. It's YOUR, your, not your. Like, I do that. That's a Californiaism. So I have to be careful when I read audiobooks to not have my California sneak in because I'm doing books for a guy in England. So it's bad enough that I sound like an American, much less a Californian. Like, oh, this ghost is gnarly, dude. Oh, he's totally Satan.
it's interesting because in the United States they want to have it narrated by a British person because it just
Yeah,
sounds so
yeah.
good.
I think the thing that I do when I read the audiobooks is I don't read the book before I record it. So it's always kind of a surprise to me what I'm going to say, just like in real life. Um, I want to be as surprised as anybody else that's listening to the book. So I read it live, and I make mistakes as I go. When I fix them, I go back and fix them. But it's I think they do like the American accent over there is as interesting as an English accent is over here. You know,
That's
and
interesting.
there are times they said, "Could you do it with an English accent?" I'm like, not in any way that isn't going to be insulting. No, can't do it. It's going to sound like Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, where people are like, "Oh my God, why didn't they just hire an English guy, or just forget it altogether and just say we're not in England? We're doing it in
Yeah.
Yosemite. It's the same show." Hey, Richard Johnson,
I don't know.
the whole family's chiming in here.
Yeah, they are. Hey,
Good to
Richard.
see him. As he just says, "Hey." Saw him on there.
Yeah.
He's bulking up. Is he getting back into pro wrestling? What's going on with that? Saw a picture of him the other day. Maybe it was Photoshop. Maybe it was a filter, but guy looked like he was pretty well ripped. That scares me. Who
Yeah.
else is out there?
Oh, okay. Here
Uh-oh,
we
where'd
go.
she go? Debbie's falling off.
Okay.
Debbie's
He
falling and
changed
stinking
it
up.
to. He went hey, and he changed it to hey.
Hey, going all
There you
Henry
go.
Winkler on us. So what's going on down in Spooky Land down there? You doing tours? What are you guys doing?
Well, right now we're trying. We got so much. Oh my gosh, we got so much going on right now, and we're trying to work our way around the red tape and everything that we have to do. But um, we got some really good plans for in the future.
Yeah,
Um, the
doing.
Paracomic Con, of course, is like at the top of the list. You
Yeah.
know,
Do you know when that
but
is? They got dates?
Stan, don't we have a tentative date? I think Stan. I got it written down
Maybe he doesn't
somewhere.
want to say it doesn't want to pimp it too soon. But if you anybody out there, has not been to the Paracomic-Con, you have missed out something and you shouldn't do it again. If you do, I will come down there and I will eat your pet. I guarantee it. Because that's what they do down there. I mean, anybody. I mean, it seems like anything could be on the table if you're not careful. But no, we had a great time. August 9th and 10th. There you go. August 9th and 10th. We had a real hoot and a holler down there this last time. So many nice
We
people,
sure
so many
did.
great vendors. Uh, just everything was just a good time. So many fun people. Uh, and I tell people when you go to one of these shows, you find your tribe. You find people that you don't have to act like you're somebody different. You don't have to
Right.
behave yourself at all. You know, let your
Yeah,
flag fly, baby. Have some fun with it. I remember listening to the cryptid, um, the folks that were talking about cryptids, folks that were talking about, all these things that were, gotta be said, pretty foreign to me. And people who just, you know, they uh, they dig in, and they really enjoy it, and they don't worry at these shows. At least they don't worry what anybody thinks about them. They just have fun with it, and the guys who do cosplay, the folks that do the artwork, they just come out of the woodwork to do the coolest stuff. So if you
they
haven't been, you
do.
got to go next time, August 9th and 10th.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, yeah. I really, I just look forward to it every year,
Yeah.
and it's just like I said, it's like a big family reunion. We all just got real close, and it's just like, you sit there like a month before, and you're like, I can't wait, I can't wait. Oh, I'm going to see so and so, and we're just going to have so much fun because we have fun every year, and it really is. It's like you just work your way up to it, and then when you get there, you're just like, this is it,
Well, and something that
So
really that kind of plays to that is sitting in the lobby of the hotel, either on the way to the show or after the show or before the show or whatever. People sitting in the lobby, sort of gearing up, and we're all
yeah,
chowing down on our Wheaties, getting our strength up because we know it's going to be a big day, and we're going to have so many new people to hang out with. And I just remember just feeling that energy in the room of everybody just kind of ramping up, like, all right, we've been waiting for this. It's time. Let's go have some fun. And sometimes when you do these
hmm
shows, you get that energy, and sometimes you feel like it's I don't know, more of a for-profit gig, and the people who do the shows, it's almost like carny folk. They're just going from town to town, and it doesn't it's not as exciting to them as it used to be, and
right.
never got that vibe down in Alabama. Everybody was there. I mean, it seemed like people had driven for hours, if not days, to get there, and that energy and that excitement and that family attitude is just different. It's just different than anything else I've done. So nice.
Oh, that's nice to hear, and but it is true. It's just like I love so much sitting there because all of a sudden you are one family, and you know about this person and this person and what's going on here and there, and now all of a sudden you're sucked into this you know
Yeah.
Alabama family, and
Well, and so
it
many
doesn't matter
different,
where you're from, you're an
yeah,
Alabama family now.
and so
you
many
know
different
and
experts and people who have different specialties that they study and go into, whether it's the ghost folks or the cryptid folks or any of that. The haunted house folks. It was really just
mhm.
fascinating. I remember thinking, I don't know anything about this. I'm going to be completely just, deer in the headlights. But people were very kind and said, "How much do you know about this?" And then they spent some time kind of getting me up to speed and making me feel comfortable about what we were, talking about, so I didn't feel like the odd guy in the room. And that's very nice because some people were been doing this for 20 years. I've been doing this for 10 minutes, and it was like, what's that? What's a cryptid again? And so everybody was just really, really, really fun.
Yeah, we just and I mean everybody just adored you. You were like, you know so much fun, and I think it was just so easy with you because you blended so everybody.
I am the creamer to your coffee. I am the
You are. You really are.
hey, another family member, Michael Cope. How are you, sir? You know,
Oh, hi, Michael.
it's so nice to see that he's in jail again. Whenever I see his picture, I recognize that he's finally back behind bars where he belongs. It's nice because I feel safer just knowing he's not on the road anymore. It's so
We
nice when
try to
people
keep them
can't
as safe as
respond back to me.
possible.
They can't defend themselves at all. God, I love this. My favorite kind of conversation. Completely one way. How beautiful.
Oh, don't you wish you could do this with your kids?
If I thought they'd listen, that would be interesting. It would be. Huh. Now my kids are
They
now
don't listen when they're in front of you.
my kids are 22 and
It's
30,
fun.
so now they've just started to believe that maybe my dad's not full of shit. Huh. What do you know? It's possible. They'll ask me questions sometimes and actually be interested in the answer. I mean, that's been a long time.
No.
Yeah, 8, 10 years been since that happened. But yeah, yeah. And when they need money.
I
So,
got to find out your secret because I haven't experienced that yet.
no, no,
They
it's,
just kind of, go by and pat me on the head. Hi, mom. I
yes.
love you, mom.
Yeah.
He's like,
But,
okay, thanks.
it's basically payback for the stuff we used to do to my mom. Now, I'm a one of 5 boys, single mom. And we used to do this thing. We'd be in the grocery store and we'd grab onto my mom's elbow and then act like we were either blind or developmentally disabled. And she'd look back at us and go, "Not gonna go, Mom. Please don't be mean to me." You know, and they'd look at her and like, "Oh, God bless you. It must be so difficult." And she's like, "You have no idea.
You just don't know.
They're not developmentally disabled. They're just a-holes." You know? And I'm the nicest of the 5. You know, I'm the easiest of the 5. So yeah, imagine 5 of these. Yeah, you put yourself
Oh
in a
my
hole.
god.
But yeah, it's
Yeah, well, I've seen
what's that?
pictures of your brothers. You guys look a lot alike.
Yeah, and crazy. We
Yeah.
just found out not long ago we have a half brother. Thanks, Dad. Um, who kind of one of my brothers did 23 and Me and found out we had a half brother. And we didn't. And he wrote to him and said, "Hey, we're half brothers." And then he went, "What have I done? What if he doesn't know? What if Dad doesn't know? The guy who raised him." And fortunately, it turned out that, well, I say fortunately, they had all passed away, so there wasn't any, you know, family explosion. But it was really funny because he looks just like me, and he's only 6 months older. And then I have another brother
Wow.
who's 18 months older. So there's me, this guy Dan, and then my other brother Ken, and then the others. And so yeah, we found out our family tree is got a few more branches than we knew about. And but we he has
Whoa.
the same musical taste. He has the same look. I mean, uh, we tell the same bad jokes. It's eerie to find somebody that we didn't know who is. I mean, like we saw him we invited him to a party, and we started giving him grief like we do each other. And he said, "Wow, you guys really jump in a gang member, don't you?" And it's like, "Hey, man, you're family now, you know." And even though it was not, my mom probably would have just rolled her eyes to know that he existed. Um, it was one of those things. My mom raised us that family's family, and so yeah, we'd have people over at Christmas who just had no place to go, and my mom had this microscopic budget for Christmas presents with 5 boys. She'd go buy them something just so that they felt comfortable opening stuff with us. So the idea of adopted family at holidays or conventions or any place else is very, very natural to me. I feel like, you know, uh, we're all just folks, and when I get to do shows, I recognize that the reason I'm there is because I got super, super blessed to be able to do the job I wanted to do ever since I was a little kid, and to be able to share that with other people is fun, you know. But I don't feel like I'm anybody particularly special. I'm just a guy who got very, very lucky to do a lot of stuff that other people would want it to do, you know. So,
Well, I
very,
mean, I agree that there's amount of luck involved, but Bill, you couldn't have done a lot of what you did without the talent to go with it.
well,
Really, come on now.
it's my son's a drummer, and he's been drumming since he was 8 years old. He's 30 now, and people always talk about how talented he is, and he hates that word because he said, I play
Oh,
6 hours a day, so every day, sick or healthy, nights,
practice, practice.
weekends, I practice every day. So
Yeah.
yes, he did have a very natural gift for limb independence, playing drums, which is his instrument. Um, but talent without all that hard work is
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. And so I feel like for myself, when I started getting into doing movies, it was everything I ever wanted to do. but I sacrificed a lot. I put out a lot of time and effort. I gave up, girlfriends and a decent place to live and security and pensions and all the wonderful things that come with a corporate gig so that I could do this thing
Yeah,
that I just felt I had to do. So I still look at it as fortunate because I made choices that turned out and put a lot of time and effort into it. And I'm very, proud of the work that I did. And I had so much fun doing it. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. But I do get that, most people don't get to do their dream job, and that's
it's true.
pretty lucky, but even for a day, much less 10 years you know so when people ask about it, I always make sure that they understand, yeah, there was good and bad with it. There was the fun parts, and then there's not so fun parts where it's I'm about $600 short of my $300 rent, and I'm in trouble. I got to do something or people are going to come break my legs. um, so you put that kind of effort out when necessary to get there you know but
Yeah.
still, if I had it to do it all again, I'd do it again just the same way, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, now let's kind of go into that a little bit, kind of clue everybody in. There's so many. There are so many movies that you've been in. It would take
Yeah,
probably half the show.
yeah.
But
Folks that get into the spooky, want to know about the horror films. So I did three of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. So I have I call it the world record for being killed by Freddy Krueger 3 times. You know, I'm not sure if that's. I just say it. Probably not true. But did The Lost Boys, Return of the Living Dead, Part Two, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Let's see, what other horror? Predator 2 is not really horror, it's more sci-fi, but there's a monster. Um, did People Under the Stairs with Wes Craven, and did a couple other TV shows for Wes Craven as well. So yeah, a lot of stuff that had to do with kids. I'm a little tiny guy, 5'6". At the time I was about 120 pounds, so I was a good stunt double for kids. And in the 80s, we were dicing up teenagers like sushi, so they were always looking for stunt guys, and all the other stunt guys were like gymnasts. So they had, real big, thick arms. I have never been accused of having thick arms ever. Um, most of those guys had bigger arms than I had a waist. And so I could double girls. I doubled a lot of teenagers. And so it was just a really good niche place to be.
yeah,
I was a
yeah.
martial artist and a skateboarder and a mountain bike rider and a dirt bike rider. So I had a lot of the basic skills, tumbling skills and stuff like that that stunt guys had. And people just started hiring me, and it was like, hey, this is more fun than you can normally have with your clothes on. And it was just a good time. And it did about 12 years. Did some TV shows too. I did stunts on things that people giggle at, like the Wonder Years. There's no stunts on the Wonder Years. Damn tootin' there aren't. And I was there not doing them. Uh, and they would, if they had anything,
Just
they
in
would,
case.
yeah, that's me, baby. They would put a kid in the car, and the car would drive off. And they said, well, if we can have a stuntman do that, that means we can put the kid back in school, which is what they really wanted to do. They wanted to keep the kids in school and give them as normal a life as they could. And so I would be there to do a slip and fall on a banana peel. I'd be there to jump over a hedge in the yard. I'd be there to, do a U-turn in a car, woo, sweating, crazy stuff. But and Star Trek. I was on the Star Trek TV series for a while, and the kid on that show, Wesley Crusher,
Hmm.
really wonderful kid, very very smart. Grew 6 inches in a year, the little bastard, and
Wow.
he went from being here to being here, and grew out of a job for me. Thank you. But like so many great times, so many great people. Um, it's the people. I think the real allure sometimes to the movie business is the people you get to work with. And I
Oh,
got to work with some legends. Tim Curry. George Burns. For those of us old enough to remember George Burns,
Mhm.
these are people who are legends since the days of radio. You know, and
Yeah.
even then I knew how blessed I was to be able to just hang out with these people, and they're creative and they're funny and they're smart and they're just they're stars for a reason. They just have that
Yes.
larger than life sort of personalities and creativity in them. And that's really the whole joy of doing this stuff. You go to a theater, you see yourself up there, and you're like, oh, look at me. But when I remember the times and the really cool people I got to work with. So that's my story.
Yeah, I thought so there.
So there.
I saw a really sad picture the other day, and it was a picture of somebody's home that had burned down. And lo, lo and behold, there was an Oscar laying in the ashes. And I was
Wow.
like, oh my
Yeah.
God. It
Yeah.
turned out that it was, yeah, I mean, it was like, you were going to hear about it sooner or later. But
Yeah.
apparently it was his grandfather's. It wasn't his.
Yeah.
He was the child of a woman who came from, I mean, they were all in the business. And it was apparently his grandfather's who had since
Mm.
passed, and he had gotten it. And it was just like
Yeah.
irreplaceable,
You know,
absolutely irreplaceable.
I had this little epiphany the other day. I was telling my wife, the Powerball gets up to $1 billion, and everybody's throwing in $10 and seeing, because it gives you a license to dream. If I had $1 billion, what would I do? And
Yeah.
you think about all the things you would do and the things you would buy and the people you would help, and you go through all that, and then I hear about a friend of ours from Altadena, California, who lost everything. I mean, down to the
Oh,
clothes, in the closet. There's nothing to go back for. And I think, what is he wishing for right now? Is he thinking about buying a Lamborghini, or is he thinking about just having clothes on his back? Is he thinking about
right.
what are we going to do to feed the pets? What are we going to do? Where are we going to stay? Do I have a job to go back to? How am I going to get there? I don't have a car. I don't have anything. So it really was kind of a perspective builder to recognize that, we can all sit and think about, what we would buy if we had 1 million, but what if you had nothing? And he had said, it'll probably be 2 or 3 years before I have a day like yesterday, like the day before this all happened. And and I've heard people say, oh, all these Hollywood people, they're not losing anything. They've all got money. No, we
No,
don't. No, no. Most of us are workaday kind of folks. I mean, yeah, there's the billionaires out there, but they're few and far between. Most of the people that you see in those hills, these are people who are, working just like you and I every day. They go to
right,
the office, and it's not like everybody in the business makes, $500,000 a year. I mean, most of these people are making a living wage. Maybe a little better. Some of them do okay, but most of us are you know, we could make more doing other things, but we choose to make movies because that's where our hearts are and that's where our, you know, energy is. But there's plenty of people who make a lot more money than us in the movie biz. And I just thought it was really kind of sad that people were like, yeah, those people, I don't feel bad for them. It's like, lose your house and see,
right.
then, and then no matter how much you have, I mean, I always look at wealth as a matter of scale anyway. I am so much better off than maybe somebody, down in Mexico or somebody in, South America or somebody in, Africa or somebody in, some other part of the country or wherever. I mean, we do very well. I mean, we're very comfortable here, but there's differences, and I see people who do get by on much less, and I see people who have a lot more than me. I wouldn't want to tell anybody that it's not okay to be sad because you lost something. Loss is personal, you know. So I just feel like, yeah, I pray for them
Absolutely.
all. I I I don't want to gauge anybody else's pain. I don't want anybody else to gauge mine, you know. So
Yeah.
there, I'm off my
Well,
soapbox
and,
now.
and, but it is true. I mean, even the people that do have a lot of money, oh well, they have a lot of money. But you know what? They worked hard for that too.
Yeah.
They just didn't just skate it on through
Yeah.
their, 90% of them bust their butts to
Yeah,
get
and
what they
maybe,
what they
maybe they've been working on a 30-year career to get to where they are, and now all that
exactly.
stuff is gone and they're starting over from scratch.
Oh,
It's not like there's, I don't know what people think about Hollywood people, but most of the people I know that do movies, they are, they do okay, but they're the cost of living out here is ridiculous. I mean, $3,000
yeah,
a month is a one-bedroom house. If you get an actual house, that's usually like an apartment for, $3,000 a month, and that's not in a great part of town. Um,
yeah,
so the living expenses are very high, the, gas and all those other things. So if somebody has, gotten to a point where they've actually got a decent place to live and that burns down, there may be no place to rebuild because it's very expensive. And, it's not like there's just land all around Los Angeles. I drive 40 minutes to get to work, and that's considered nothing around here. We don't even talk about distances here. We talk about how long it takes because 3 miles can
yeah,
be, 3 miles can be 2 hours, on a bad day. Hey,
exactly.
Danny Andrews, another person's name I recognize and recommend. How you doing, Danny? Good to see you here. I feel like we're having this family
Yeah,
reunion again.
I know.
Hmm.
It's
Danny,
already starting. Here we
Danny owes
go.
me money. No, that's not true.
I'll see you after the show.
Yeah, yeah. Gonna send my collectors down there. But no, things have been good out here. We always recover. It's funny that people will talk about earthquakes. It's like, hey, I'll take 100 earthquakes over what we just went through. Uh, Earthquakes usually are just a minor inconvenience. Fires, destroyed much more. I think they said they're talking about $7 or $8 billion worth of damage out here. Very, very different. But it is what it is. It's funny, when people talk about, oh, Hollywood, they're not making most of the movies in Hollywood anymore. They're making them in Atlanta, and they're making them in Canada, and they're making them in South Carolina. So, Hollywood's not even movies anymore so much. We have it just as we're struggling for work out here, just like everybody else. Good to see you're doing all right, Danny. See those little things pop up here and there. Sorry if I'm distracted. Squirrel.
I know. I keep because I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm like, oh, what does it say?
And the thing is, you're talking to somebody from Alabama. You say squirrel, they get hungry. Yeah. Squirrel, fry that sucker. I pick
You
on
laugh.
you.
The guy down the
I
street actually used to do that.
well,
We could find
when I was coming down there, somebody had said to me, "Oh, you're going to eat good when you're down here," and I said, "Now." Um, and I didn't know if somebody was playing with me or not because it could have gone either way. And they said, um, "You guys eat squirrels? Because we feed them here in our house." And they go, "What is that a problem?" I'm like, "Come on, don't do this. Be cool." And they're like, and they said, "Well, you probably won't eat a squirrel, without knowing about it." But they said, "Yeah, my grandma makes a nice little squirrel casserole." And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I wasn't against the idea, but I just wanted to know what I was getting myself into. But I thought they could be
They
totally
eat
playing with me.
possum here.
Possum.
They eat possum here. I, I'm not making this up. They
I've seen
actually
them.
have an annual possum festival here.
Hmm. We're gonna
True
have to.
story.
That's not in August, I hope.
I was just getting ready to say, I'm going to see when it is. We'll go.
You know,
I'll
uh,
take you on a field
yeah.
trip.
I told him. I said, my deal with what I'll eat, no more than four legs, no less, and the tail has to be, under one body length. Anything that's got a tail over the body length of the animal,
And it's
off.
got to have hair on it.
Yes, yes, yeah. No scales. Yeah. Only two eyes. So we're keeping the arachnids and the other creepy crawlies. Yeah, there's a great book out called Man Eating Bugs, and it's a story of a man and his wife who traveled the world eating insects as part of the diet of the local people. And as many horror movies as I've been in, nothing freaked me out like that book. Guy eating a
Ooh,
spider with legs longer than my, I mean, oh, good
no,
Lord. I don't know how hungry you'd have to be. Go, huh, maybe we could eat that spider.
that's not even hungry anymore. That's demented.
Totally nasty. And there's plenty of cultures that, they'll eat crickets and they'll eat termites and yeah, well, that's why good old US of A, we'll just eat a cow, thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Or a possum.
Or a possum. Yeah, yeah. Some will eat a
Or
possum. Not all of us. We don't all have to, right? No rule about that.
no, you don't have to. I guess at the possum festival they encourage it.
I would guess, yeah.
Not eating a possum.
People always say it tastes like chicken. You know what's the easiest thing in the world to catch and eat? A freaking chicken.
A
Why are
chicken.
you trying to catch things that are hard to catch? A chicken's dumb as
Yeah,
a fence post. They just stand there. You just grab them and eat them. Yeah.
eat a flipping chicken.
Yeah. If it's going to taste like chicken anyway, eat a chicken.
Eat a chicken.
That's it. Get
No.
an alligator, for God's sake. Something's got as good a chance eating you as you are it. Not for me. I don't want to have to fight anything. I don't want anything that's going
I
to
was
taste
just
me.
I was just getting ready to say, if you got to fight to the life for what you're eating, maybe
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
Yeah. If it's me or them, I'm done. I've
Let
never
it
been attacked
go.
by a cow. I think I could take them. You know,
It's like I used to tell my kids when I was a horseback riding instructor. I had a riding school down in Homestead. And I used to tell the kids all the time, let them go. If they're going to run away from you, don't hold on to them. Let them go.
I
We'll get them back.
I am terrified of horses, and I know that sounds pretty silly for a stuntman. Yeah, because you get on a motorcycle, there is no decision-making process here on behalf of the motorcycle. If I want to go that way, I turn the wheel and we go that way. With a horse, he's got a decision to make. I don't think I want to go where Bill wants to go. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss him over the front and then I'm going to stomp his skinny little arms into paste. I'm going to make him a big, soft mush because I don't want to go where Bill wants to go. And those that bit in the mouth and all that, it's time to rise up and stomp some crazy little Californian into a nice little mushy, bald paste. And I just know that
Sounds like
day's
some of the
coming.
horses I've had.
So, they say you just have to show him who's in charge. I know who's in charge. It's him or her. They weigh 3,000 freaking pounds. What do I got? Oh, I'll pull back on this. Don't threaten me. I'll pull back on this bit. Yeah. I have no defense against that. Absolutely.
They used to really.
The first one who got on a horse, that was a brave mofo, man. He's like, no, hang on. They'll go the way you want them to go. This isn't,
Kind
uh,
of like
this isn't
the
Avatar.
first
I don't
person that
need,
ate an egg.
what's that?
Think about the first
Oh,
person
yeah.
that ever ate an egg. Who
Or
the
an
fuck are
oyster.
doing that?
Or an oyster. Who was
Or
the
an
first person
oyster.
who ate an oyster? Hey, I found a rock with some snot in it. You guys want to try
Well,
it?
hey, give it a shot.
Yeah. Maybe we
Oh,
put
look,
some
this just
little,
popped out of his butt. Let's
yeah,
eat it.
get some lemon and hot sauce and drink some snot. Yeah, that sounds good. Only New Englanders. I mean, that's a hungry New Englander right there. It's like crack that open and go, would you eat that? No, no. I got Mucinex to cure me of having things like that.
Exactly. We try to stay away from that. Y'all are eating it.
Yeah, nasty stuff.
Yeah.
So what else is
Yeah.
going on with Web Network? I mean, you got who I've done almost everybody's show, I think, by now. Uh, did Teresa and Stan's show. I did uh, the Blaylock show. I think I did. Anybody else I missed?
There's Mercedes.
Did I do her show? I think I did. I think we did. I did a bunch of them right before we did the last show. It was fun because you guys all go off in different directions. You were more the cryptids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah, I did.
watching
Yeah.
your presentation up there, going. The woman's out of her mind. No, I believe in cryptids because I'm Italian. Yeah.
Okay,
We're only
what's the connection?
well, we're hairy, and some of us, have been mistaken for cryptids at time. Uh,
It happens.
it's a my uncle Bob had a tail, so we
It happens.
it happens. No, it's funny because there's so much. Uh, there's so much buzz about it now because there's so many more, everybody's got a camera, so
Yeah.
everybody's taking pictures of things, and it's compelling, because people used to say, how come nobody
It
ever
is.
got a picture of one of these? Well, not because not everybody has a camera sitting in their pocket, and now everybody does. In fact, everybody's got a video camera and a pretty damn good one, you know. So you
It's
see more
true.
stuff out there, and it's compelling. And of course, there's also more digital tricks out there. And so, I always think about how many people are out there going, "I'm going to create the definitive fake. I'm going to be the one that everybody in the world says is this is it." And then I'm going to come out 10 years from now and tell them they're a bunch of bozos. But it's either way, it's
That's
fun.
happened a
Yeah.
few times.
Yeah. Either way, it's still fun. I see
It
a lot
is.
of UFO kind of footage that makes its way out, and people put stuff up there and say this is official, NASA stuff. And it's like, no, it's not. It's like any good magician will tell you. The premise of this is a lie. So when somebody
Yeah.
does a video and says, "Yeah, this is proof of a UFO," well, it's like, well, first they have to, back it up with where it's from, and if it's where it's from is a lie, well, then the rest of it is too. But I still enjoy watching them just to watch the comment section go crazy. You know, people on both sides of the
Yeah, no,
argument. It's entertaining if it's
we
not educational.
yeah. Well, we had an interesting night one night. You remember Lee Triana Brown,
Hmm.
Lee
Oh
Triana
yeah,
Terry Brown?
yeah.
Okay. Well, her and her husband Matt, they live up in the Carolinas. And of course, Stan, Alabama, and I'm in North Florida. I'm actually only like 30 minutes away from Stan and Teresa, but they're on the edge of Florida and I'm on the edge of Alabama. Well, anyway, my son, you remember Devin, you met Devin,
Yeah.
my son.
Hmm.
Okay. So Devin comes inside. He goes, Mom, you got to come outside. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on out there. And this was the same night of what are they called? The auras,
The Aurora
the,
Borealis.
the aurora. Yes. Thank you. And it was just beautiful down here. And because, we never get to see that.
Yeah.
And, well, anyway, yeah, there was all kinds of activity up in the air. And I said, call Stan. Let's call Stan and Teresa and get them on the phone and see if they're watching this too. So we called Stan and Teresa, and they had their son on their phone. And they were all saying the same thing we were saying. And
That's
I'm
so
like,
cool.
okay, this is it. We got to call Lee. Call Lee and Matt and see what's going on. We'll get everybody on the phone. So we
Yeah.
call Lee, and, Matt is a military man. And so he's got all these apps that he can get on that traces like airplanes and
Traffic.
stuff like that. And yeah. And sure enough, he gets on there and he pinpoints where we are and he can see what we're seeing.
Mm.
And he's like, yeah, there's something going on there. And it's bizarre because they were seeing the same thing we were seeing in a different part of the sky. So something was like going on in all these areas on the same night, but it was the same kind of activity that was going
And
on.
and
It
apparently
was
hauling booty to
bizarre.
be seen that far away.
Well, I think what it was is that they were all dispersed
Hmm.
into all these different areas.
Yeah.
And but it was so interesting that Matt was like, "No, there's something going on. There's like helicopters circling around where you because we were saying, I swear it looks like there's helicopters that are like following them or chasing them or they've definitely got a trail on them. Sure enough, he was like, yep. And it was the same thing going on with where they were. It was weird, and it was just
Yeah.
so weird because we had so many people on the phone with us at the
Yeah.
same time. We were
Well, that's
all watching
that's
the same
that's
thing.
usually the definitive sort of evidence that you find is where it's not just one person, it's not just one location. You've got, lots of different
Right,
witnesses, lots of different angles on it, and everybody's still seeing the same thing. Because a lot of times, if somebody talks, my son's a big UFO uh, uh, discussion person, and he'll talk about how the thing is, it's not even just about the one person because sometimes you see something from a weird angle, it can look like almost anything. A plane coming straight at you can look
yeah.
like it's doing, like it's getting bigger, but it's actually just getting closer. And then if it takes a quick turn, it can look like something different. But if you've got a handful of different people, they've all seen the same thing, and they're all having witnessing the same phenomena, now you got some credibility there because it's like, yeah, I know I've had my eye tricked plenty of times, you know, um, and I go, yeah, wow, that kind of freaked me out. Now I know what it was. Okay, I can calm down. But when you see something,
Yeah.
you go out to like, what do you call it? We're out in,
Mhm.
they call it Area 51 out here in California, Nevada desert, and I know people have said, I know they call that a testing area, but I've seen aircraft do a left-hand turn like a right angle, and we haven't got anything that can do that because that defies
Wow.
physics, and every now and
Yeah.
then you see some video that some airline pilots like, what the hell's that there, and they're like, avoid that, like, yeah, avoid that. I've been in a Predator movie. I know what those things do. Take your spine right out of your. I've been
Can't
called
fool
spineless
you.
plenty. I've been called spineless plenty of times. I don't really wanna know what that's really like.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my God. Yeah, by George, you can't put a whole lot past you. You've been there.
No, no, no. I've been there, done that, and it's funny because when we would do all these things, you do anytime you do any sort of like Star Trek or any of these things, people talk about the futurism sort of stuff, and you find out that sometimes the way that they're um, creating futurism, you see this very funny looking machine and you get real close and you realize those are hamburger boxes stacked, styrofoam hamburger boxes stacked and painted. And you're like, the future is styrofoam. Okay. You had me fooled there for a minute. I thought that was a pretty cool piece of hardware. And now it's just a set and you realize how ridiculous you are looking at, styrofoam boxes in a stack. And, you were like, ooh, what does that do? It's like, keeps your burger cold
That
and keeps
is
your burger from getting
really
cheap.
cool.
Yeah, keeps your cheese melting, Bill. That's all it is. Nothing special here.
Oh my God. That's a bubble burster though, too. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. When we
that
were
was really
doing Predator,
cool.
the thing that really blew my mind is we're walking into the place and I feel like, okay, this is like my first real big movie, and I was stepping onto this massive, massive soundstage, and I'd never really been on set for something this big. And as I'm walking in, there's a sign just below the door. It's a plaque that's in the cement, and it says, "The Wizard of Oz was filmed here in 1932." On this,
Oh,
soundstage,
man.
and you realize, oh my gosh, that was here. That was right in this very room. And you just can't help but not, whether you go, hey, it's just a big, it's just a soundstage. It's nothing, magical about it. It's like, the hell there ain't. They did
There
Wizard
is.
of freaking Oz in this room. You know,
Exactly.
uh, there's history there, and
Wow.
you think about, yeah, there was you're treading the same floorboards as the screen, the golden age of film. And so, yeah, when you see those things, you think, yeah, I don't know if anything I'm going to do one day will be looked like that, looked at like that. Uh, but let's give it a try. Let's let's swing for the fences, see what we get. I don't know
Yeah.
that anybody's going to look at Return of the Living Dead Part 6, and go, ooh, yes, that was a classic, right up there with Wuthering Heights. But you know, we create entertainment. They can't all be Oscar winners.
Well, I mean, you just never know. And when you think about it, You never thought that you'd probably be writing a screenplay for a movie
No,
yourself.
no, it's funny. That whole
That's
thing started as a
real.
nightmare, and the guy asked me, my publisher, I sent him the notes on my nightmare that I had, and he said, "That's a scary story." And I said, "Yeah, I think so too." He goes, "Can you write it?" And I said, "Nah, I'm not a writer." And so he said, "Well, I'll write it." A couple months later, I said, "How far have you gotten?" He says, "Oh, I haven't even started." I said, I'm going to take a swing. Why not? What do I got to lose? So I write it, I send it to him, and he says, "All right, well, March 17 or February 17." And I said, "What are we doing on February 17?" He says, "That's the day we're going to publish." What? He goes, "Well, what did you want me to do?" I'm like, "I don't know. I thought you'd give me a bunch of really mean notes, and you'd tell me I'm a hack and that I should just cut off my fingers and never ever go near a typewriter ever again." That's kind of what I anticipated. And he's like, "No, no, this is really good. Let's go." I'm like, "Seriously?" And he goes, "What draft is this?" I'm like, "I didn't know we were supposed to do drafts." He's
Oops.
like, "This is the first thing you've written." Yeah. I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Nice." So when I decided to do the screenplay, somebody had said, "Well, what makes you think you know how to write a screenplay?" I said, "What makes me think I know how to write a novel?" You know, sometimes you just gotta, read a few, watch a few videos, read a few books, and figure out what you get into, and see how much trouble you can get into. And when I finished the script, I sent it off to these people they call readers for something they call coverage, and they said, "This is what we call a strong consider," which means on a scale of 1 to 100, you got an 82, which means if you're a producer and this is the genre you want to get into, you should really look at this. And I was completely stunned, once again. And so I didn't believe it. And I paid somebody else to look at it because I figured that guy was probably, you know, kind of a hack and he didn't know what he was doing. And so I got another person tell me that was pretty good. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to have to buy it. I'm just going to have to believe that I did something okay. And so the whole process has really been, I mean, I just turned 61 and I didn't imagine myself, you know, doing something new and different at age 61, that I was going to have this creative, burst. But hey, I'm loving it, you know. It tells you
Yeah,
never know to start
absolutely.
trying something else. Uh, I get a lot of people sending me scripts now saying, "What do you think? What do you think?" And I think it's funny that they're asking. It's like I know. But people that I've met at some of the conventions send me scripts, and it's like, yeah, you gotta write. If you want to write, you gotta write. If you want to make movies, you got to make movies. There is no other thing, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, Create, do something. You know, you just never know. You just don't. I mean, I didn't know that I had any particular talent or skill at this, but people enjoy the work, so uh, I'm happy. Makes me very happy when somebody reads it and says, you know, I really it scared the crap out of me. It's like cool. That was the goal. Sweet. And I think if I sell my book online, I get 18 cents. I don't even get
That's
I don't
it.
even 18 cents, yeah, for a book. And so people like, I said, what made you want to write? I said, oh, the money. By the end of the year, I'll be able to buy a cup of Starbucks. I'm just waiting for that day. But it really isn't about that. It's about wanting to put something in front of people. Like if people like scary, this is scary. If people like, whatever it is you do, like I said, you like, the investigative part of it. And when you can meet somebody else with a curious mind that is following your research and
Yeah.
and wants to, pick apart your brain and figure out how you figured out what you know and, challenge, your assumptions and play with them. And that's, that's what it's all about. You want to share what you've got, you know, at least that's
Now, where is your book available at? Is it on
everywhere.
Amazon?
If you look
Every
under your pillow, it's probably there. It's everywhere.
I've looked.
It's on
It's not there
Amazon.
on.
It's not really? Okay. Uh,
No.
it's on Amazon. It's on Goodreads. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's on Spotify. If you like to listen to books, well. There's two books total. The first one is called By His Hand. The second one is a sequel to it called Out of His Mind. and both of them are available on all those places. Apple iTunes has it as well, and it's like $1, so it's just a buck. Like I said, I don't get much out of it, but what I really enjoy is finding out that people read it, and even if they didn't like it, it's like, well, tell me what you didn't like. I would really love to know.
Yeah.
One person gave me
Yeah.
2 stars, but didn't say why. Like, well, don't be a coward. Tell me what you didn't like. I'm not mad, I'm not thinking everybody's gonna love it. And then another gal gave me, she said, "This is one of my favorite books of the year. What a great story. I can't wait to see more from this guy." 3 stars. 3?
Three.
What?
Wait.
You gave me this glowing review, and then you give me
And
3
then
out
she
of
gives you
5?
3 stars.
Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you? Um, but that's really the joy of it, and is to find out that anybody read it. You again, it was never my goal to be a writer. It was never my goal to do any of this. So the fact that I'm having the opportunity to do it is just chocolate sprinkles on a very, very tasty donut that has been my life. So yeah, and there's another site. If you guys ever get a chance to see it, it's a site called Chilling, and this is really a cool thing. I just heard about these guys a handful of years ago. It's like Spotify, but just for scary stories and scary movies. So there's a lot of scary short movies. There's audiobooks and true crime. And if you're into the whole and ghost stories, and it's a free app. Like, I'm not trying to make any money on this. I get nothing for telling you. But it's called Chilling. And if you like the spooky, I know people, they even have like settings where you can say, I'm going to fall asleep to a story. Give me something, you know, edgy and cool. Or you can say,
Yeah.
I just want to, I'm at the office, I'm doing pointless, busy work. Give me something, a crime drama, you know? And so it's really fun. And they put both of my books on there. And so it's always fun because I know it's my crowd. I know it's the people who are going to like my kind of work. So whenever I go on there and I see a review and somebody tells me that they enjoyed it, it's like, now I'm speaking to my people. Because if somebody says, "Oh, I hated your book," really? Do you like horror books? No, I hate horror books. Like, what the heck are you reading this for? I don't read, romance books because it's not my cup of tea. But I wouldn't go and read one
Yeah.
and go, "That sucked." It's like, well, you knew
Right.
going in you weren't gonna like it. Why bother? You know. But yeah, if you ever get a chance, and like I say, Chilling's a really cool thing. They have a free model versus like you can actually buy a subscription, but I think they have a free model as well. And you just go on, and you just listen to as much scary as you want to do. They put ads here and there if you do the free side, but it's just a really uh, there's so many great writers. I feel like, gosh, I'm just like a hack compared to so many of these people, but it's a really cool place to go if you just want to like chill out and just listen to something spooky and edgy, and you can add your own soundtracks to it. They'll give you a bunch of different soundtracks or background, like thunder and lightning and kind of stuff like that. Too much fun, and it's
Good.
on
That
there.
sounds
It's on
interesting.
there for free. It's
Now, when do you think that have they given you any kind of a timeline on the making of the movie about when it's going to wrap
Yeah,
up
it'll
or?
probably we'll probably start September. Usually, I think we've got about a 30-day shooting schedule, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot of nights and a lot of weekends because of the locations that we need to get. So it's going to take probably about 3 months to film, and then maybe another couple of months to edit. So maybe, I'm really hoping by the end of the year, by Christmas time, I'll actually have something. Um, uh, we're gonna shoot a trailer just because I want to and I can't wait, and I don't want to wait till September to start. So I've put together a little mini trailer to put together just to kind of get the word out there and get people buzzing about it. And it's nasty. It's just there's so many things in this. I, I'm I'm giddy and ashamed of myself at the same time. Um, there's some scenes in this where people are just like, what makes you think like that? What on earth possesses you to write these things? And it's funny because I am a person. I used to write comedy for people, and um, but when you get into when you start thinking about if I was angry, if I was just so dark, so angry, so full of rage and anger at the world and the whole universe. What would I do? You know, to put yourself in that position and just see where it goes. And I would write without any idea where it was going. Just type. Just type and see what happens. People wander into the story, you know, and just see where it goes. And sometimes I would look at it and go, "Wow, that's nasty." Hmm, wouldn't have thought I was that dark. Even I'm surprised after a while. But I think that's the cool part of the creative process is you decide I'm gonna. I mean, and there's a part in one of the books, a very very sad scene where somebody I well, I'll just give you the premise of the book. This man is he's got chronic pain, as I do. You can see I got very nasty looking fingers, and he wakes up one morning and his hand is like this. Well, that's an
Mm.
R if you speak sign language. That's kind of strange, but he can't get his fingers undone. And I'm a church going guy for real, and I go to church and my hand's just writhing and I can't make it stop. And one of the guys who works with me at church says, lift your elbow up like this. I'm like, what do you want? He goes, lift your elbow up. I'm like, why? And he's like, there's a gesture. There's a gesture for what you're trying to do. I said, I'm not trying to do anything. What are you talking
Not
about?
trying to do
He
it.
goes,
Yeah.
what is RELEASE? Release who? I'm like, I'm signing? He goes, yeah, you're not doing a very good job, but yeah. I'm like, oh shit. You know,
Yeah.
like what are the chances that I'm signing, 9 different letters in the proper order to be 2 words? That's like 26 to the ninth power. That's pretty long odds, and so as the story goes, he becomes paralyzed. And when he recovers after some time, his first words out of his mouth are, God bless you all. But that's not what he was thinking. The words came out his mouth, but that's not what his thoughts were. And he can recognize that something is in control of his body. And it's saying all the right things and it's doing all the right things, but it is not a good thing. And it starts to stalk or pursue only the people in my life that I love the most. And
Mm.
nobody believes that it's him because God saved him. He was in the hospital and all
Yeah.
of his church friends were praying for him. And he woke up and the first words out of his mouth are, God bless you. So it can't be him. So nobody suspects something bad's happening. And I, living inside my own body as like a passenger, I can see it, I can smell it, I can taste it. Everything that's happening is happening, but without my will. Something else has taken over, and you don't know what it is. Is he angry? Is he enraged? Does he have be crazy? Is he possessed? You don't know. And as it begins to work its way through his life, just destroying everything, it's sad. It's cruelly sad. Most people tell me that they weren't as much scared as they were saddened, and I kind of like that.
Wow.
So it's a pretty intense story, and the
It
screenplay.
brings out emotion. Yeah.
Yeah, and that my wife's a psychologist, and she said, I can tell you where this comes from. I was like, really? And she said, when my mom passed of dementia. She became someone that she didn't recognize, and it was only hurting the people around her because we all had to care for her, and she didn't want that. She wanted us all to move on with our lives, and
Yeah.
so I was like, oh my gosh, that's so accurate. That's crazy. And then the story just took off because it's like, okay, take that metaphor of loss of control and it affecting the people you care about most, and now blow it up 1,000 times, make it much, much, darker and much, much scarier. And the story just went crazy. And that's been the kind of fun of it is to say, okay, if I was going to take that metaphor and I was going to just put it on steroids and give it, 10,000 volts, where would it go? you know. So that's the premise of it. And then the second book is a year later, after all of these things have happened, you know, it begins again, and it's
Oh.
pretty good stuff. So I hope if you got anybody out there that hasn't read it, go read it. Like I said, it'll cost you a whole buck. So if you don't like it, I'll give you your dollar back. That's a total lie because I only get 18 cents anyway. I'll give you 18 cents back. You'll just have to trust me. I'll give it to you when I see you.
Oh my god.
You
I
read it?
haven't read it yet. So I
No?
I gotta I gotta get on Amazon. I
Yeah,
haven't read it yet.
yeah, it's a good one. Do you write?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean, I
not things
imagine
that can be published.
I have. I'm not saying porn's a bad thing. Debbie, you do what you do. I'm not here to judge you. You know.
You do you.
Yeah, you do you. Yeah, or anybody else you want to do. That's not on me. Not me. Not here to judge. Now, Debbie, do you write about your experiences in the cryptid stuff, or I mean, I know you've written some papers and stuff, or at least I saw your speech. It sounded
Yeah.
like you had
Uh,
put that up for publication.
actually, I've been told I should write my life story because, I mean, what I've crammed into this small lifetime is amazing. But no, I've not. I've
No,
not really. I've made notes and jogged things down, and thoughts here and there, but no, that's really the extent of it.
a good friend of mine
Yeah.
who passed away a number of years ago said, "Life is not measured by length, but by depth." And I love that quote because like you said, you've got this little tiny little life here, and how much you're going to cram into it, how much you're going to pull out of it, how
Yeah.
much are you going to, what are you going to make of the time that you got? Nobody ever said, "Gosh, I wish I spent more time in the office." You know, you want
Right.
to spend your life doing things that make the world a bigger, better, more interesting, exciting place to be, and more loving, more interesting in some way. So yeah, absolutely. I think everybody should write. I don't think you have to worry about whether you're any good at it because it's your story, and it's your take on what you saw and did. And yeah, I would hope that, when my son read my book, he's like, this is not the writing people talk about. I don't want to be the last person you speak to before the police are at the door. So how about you write something else? So I've got a baseball story that I'm going to be writing. Totally not horror at all. Just an idea that hit me, and I thought, oh gosh, the characters are just coming so fast. I can hardly write fast enough to bring them all in. But I think everybody should. I think it's a really interesting exercise just to find out. It's almost like telling yourself what you think. You think all your thoughts in your
Yeah.
head, and whether you figure you're crazy or not. If you put them out, you read back, and you're like, no, I'm a pretty smart person, and that's an interesting story. I think people would be interested, even if it's just, friends and
Yeah.
family and kids and neighbors and stuff like that. I think it just gives people a little chance to find out what you're all about. Nothing. What's the worst that can happen? They tell you you're crazy and they put you in a loony bin and you're attacked by the other inmates and killed. That's about the worst that could happen.
Now my dad wrote a book. He wrote like an autobiography, and but he gave me a copy of it, but he made me swear not to show it to anybody, or he goes, "When I die, you can do anything you want to with it, but not until then."
Was it any good? Did you like it?
I don't think he wanted to be held accountable. It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It was good.
I don't
And
want anybody digging up the backyard just yet.
just quite yet.
Yeah.
So,
With that final shovel, and then you can
but
put it out there to the world.
that's right. So, he's been gone now since 2009. So I'm figuring that the leads are probably,
Pretty cool.
old by now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
probably just
Anybody that was related, it's passed on as well. Yeah. No, no,
pretty much. So I think it's probably pretty safe to go on ahead and, but it is. It's pretty cool,
yeah.
and a lot of it has to do with his native background and things. You know, he grew up in what, the 40s. The He was born in 36, 37. So really, his time of growing up was in the 40s and the early 50s. And Native Americans back then were not looked upon as they are today.
which isn't even
The
great now.
indigenous people were.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Lot of
and
horrible, painful stories out there.
there are, and when I read it, even today, I go back and I read it, and it's like this is really cool. This is
Yeah,
this is really pretty cool the way that he did it. So yeah, I've been thinking about it. So
yeah.
Dad did write a book. So
It's,
I don't
you know,
know.
and it's funny because almost everybody I've ever talked to, they don't feel like their life was anything, that, remarkable. But it's like that's your own brain telling you that, you know. Write a few chapters and then show it to somebody and see if they, because I found like my great aunt was lived back in Chicago and New York back in the 30s and 40s, and she was saying, oh yeah, we used to have a bar in Buffalo, and yeah, gangsters had come in and throw bottles around. I'm like, what? She's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, the mafia. They'd come after us, and we're all Italian in my family." And I said, "They messed with you?" And she said, "Oh yeah." She said, "I remember some guy came in. He started throwing bottles around. I took a big sack of ice. 'Cause we used to crush the ice by hitting it with a hammer. I took this big old bag of ice and I wailed him across the chops. I made the papers and everything." And she shows me this clipping, and I'm like, "Nana, she's like 3 foot tall. She weighs about 8 pounds. This tiny little thing, took some mafia dude on." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I got my butt pinched by Joe. Was it some boxer back in the day? Thought she was cute and grabbed her by the butt, and she punched him in the mouth. And there's a picture of him and the guy raising up her hand because he's got a bloody lip, and she punched him in the face. And I'm like, Nana, how can you not tell me these stories? And she passed before we did get all those stories. We
Yeah,
all sit and talk about the little legendary stories, but it's like, well, she's like, oh, my life's no big deal. It's like everybody's life can be a big deal. You just gotta, you know, you put it out there. What you think is just absolutely normal and just, commonplace, maybe something very, very different to everybody else. I think everybody's got a story to tell, and even if you're not a great writer and it's horrible, you put it out there and you get a chance to you know, get your creativity on, get your brain out there, and recognize what you've done in your life.
absolutely.
I think if nothing else, you'll get an appreciation for the life you've led.
I remember Mom before this, probably about a year before she passed. I just lost her in 23
Mm,
in August. Yeah, September of 23. So it's still it's still fresh for me.
yeah.
But I remember she was telling me a story one time because we've got a clock or a lamp and got it from a woodworker um, from Germany. Well, actually, he wasn't in Germany. We had to cross over the border. But Dad was in the service, and me and Nancy were really small. My sister and Nancy were really small, and they decided they were going to go to this wood carver to get this lamp. I think they got the lamp and they got a cuckoo clock from him. Really beautiful. I own them now. And she said, so you know, they got in the car. The four of us got in the car with my uncle Fritz. My mom, by the way, was
Uncle
German.
Fleets. Ah, yeah.
Ah, yeah. And we grew up in Germany. I didn't come over here till I was like 12 years old.
Oh,
And here, my dad is Native American. I mean, he's complete indigenous. And here's my mom, complete German. And they hit it off. But it worked. Okay. So they get in the car. So we all go to this clockmaker or this woodworker, put in their order. So they went ahead and they got these beautiful, this like wood carved lamp that's sitting over here. And it's absolutely beautiful. That night, we were in bed already. And I think this had to have been like 63, 60 something, early 60s, because I was real young. And the man comes knocking on our door really hard. You got to get up. You got to get up. You got to get out of here. And my dad was in the service. That's why he was over there. And he was like, "What? What's going on? What's going on?" And he goes, you just don't understand. They're invading the town, and they've got tanks, and they're coming in through here. You got to get you and your kids out of here. You got to get your family out of here. If they find out." that you're an American, this could be really bad. You got to get out of here. Yeah. So they loaded us up in the car, and we could see the tanks coming down the street. That chicka 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 chicka, and they're
Wow.
loud. I mean, it's such a vivid memory that I've got. I asked mom. I said, "What the hell was all that about? All this to get a lamp and a cuckoo clock?" She goes, "Well, they were very nice, but
Yeah,
it was
very nice.
they were very nice. It was the invasion of Prague. We were
Wow.
there. We were there for the invasion of Prague."
It's crazy.
I looked at my mom. I said, "Don't you think that we should have known about that earlier?" She goes,
Yeah. No
Maybe."
warning about these things. See, that's the thing, and that kind of history, somebody that was there, that's pretty amazing stuff. And you don't want that to be lost. Let that get out.
No,
Hey, I hate to
that
do
was
this.
just
I
part of
am,
the
I
invasion.
am, I am looking at my
What time
clock,
is
and
it?
it's 7:30 coming up California time,
Oh my. It's
and
late.
I'm old.
Bill,
You know,
thank you
that
so
I normally I have my dinner at 4 p.m. I go to the Denny's and get the early bird special. When a man of my advanced years, I just get my pudding and I'm, off to bed.
with
Pull my
senior citizen discount.
pull my pajamas up to about here and climb in my grab me a grab me a one of those skins and pull it over myself and yeah.
Oh my goodness. It has been so much fun talking to you again.
You as well.
We're
God,
going
I
to have
love
such
you
a good
guys.
time. I love you
I can't
too.
wait to get down there again sometime because just like I said, it's funny. I did about 10 shows last year, but when somebody had said to me, is that gonna, is that a big show? And I said, no, it's a small show. And they said, you know, are you sure you want to do one that small? And I said, I joke about this, and I don't mean this in the way it sounds, but I said, even a bad meal is a good story. You know,
It's true.
I was going to go down there and have whatever time was to be had. I went down there completely open-minded and just said, I'm going to meet some more people. I'm going to go to a place I've never been. I'm going to meet people I've never seen. I'm going to go to just places that I've never even been to the state of Alabama before. And so it was just really great to meet just people, just people who have no, we're all part of this big tribe we call, horror fans. But it was, like I said, just charming as it could possibly be. I told those guys, I said, anytime, man, I'm back. You don't even have to ask. I'll drive down. I'll throw them a ride. I'll find a way down there because it's just so much fun. And the people are just so real and so kind. And that's the thing I think I miss out here sometimes. I know all my neighbors here because that's just, who
Yeah,
my family, is, but a lot of people don't. And down there, everybody knows everybody. And they stick up for one another and they look out for one another, no matter who they are, even people
that's true.
who still feel like, yeah, but we look after one another. You don't have to like
That's
each
it.
other to be family.
Well, you know what they say is that, I can say anything I want to my brothers or my sisters or whatever, my tribe. But by George, better not anybody else say
Yeah.
anything about.
One of my brothers was a ninth degree black belt. And there was a time when some guy was threatening to just beat me half to death. And I was a martial artist too, so I wasn't terribly afraid of the guy. But he says, if I kick your ass, what'll happen? I said, oh, my brother will kill you. And I said, but let's see what happens with me first. Don't, you're getting ahead of yourself. I said, but yeah, rest assured, any victory you have will be very short lived. Because if anybody's going to kick my ass, it's going to be him. I'm his sole property to use as a punching and kicking bag. You got no rights. You know, Anybody that's going to whoop on me, it's going to be him. He has that. He paid for that right.
Yeah. Well, it has been absolutely wonderful,
My
wonderful having you on the
as
show.
always.
Thank you so much.
everybody in Web Network. And, I've been subscribed to you guys since, gosh, probably 6 months before the show. And I just love tuning in sometimes. I don't always, let anybody know I'm there. I don't always comment or something, but I just like to listen in because it's like listening to, family, talking across the room and just, listening to conversations of people I care about and people that are just fun and genuine. And I just love you guys to death.
Oh, we certainly do love you too. And later on, when you get a chance, you got to go through some of these Richard and Michael and Ben. I mean, some of the comments on there is pretty
Uh-oh,
good.
wait, now, see, I have it myself full screen, so I didn't know they were talking about me. You guys been bad mouthing me. I know where you live.
You know where we
Small
are.
town. Read my book and then find out what I'm capable of. You don't want to mess with this. Okay. I'm all fun and games, but it gets very dark. You don't want to mess with that stuff.
Papa's got a dark side.
Papa- I think I believe in book two, I drowned my wife in a what do they call those things when you're in bed and you're sick? Uh, what do they call those things? A bedpan. Yeah, she drowns in the contents of a bedpan. That's just how nice. That's just who you're talking to here. I got you, man. I know where you've got a bedpan. I know. You're just
I
you're just
do.
uh you're just a mouthful away, baby. Don't mess with me. Come get you. No,
Oh
I am
my
gonna have to
God.
go and look. Oh yeah. Like,
Well,
oh my
have a
gosh,
good
look at all
dinner at
sorts of people
Denny's.
talking here. People talking behind my back. Ooh, you guys are in trouble. Well,
Bill,
thanks
I
again for
can't wait
having
to
me
see
on.
you again. Of
And I hope
course.
to see
Thank
you
you for
guys this
coming.
fall. Be good and stay in touch.
Well, it kind of takes the fun out of it, but we will. We'll stay in touch.
All right, you guys take care. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, Bill.
Bye bye.
And everybody, thank you for tuning in and enjoying Mr. Bill Perry. He is just so much fun. I mean, I just love him. He is so much fun. And everybody, thank you for commenting on here. I'm reading through this. Um, Michael says, "I'll come and be a bad guy for you." It's, I mean, it's just really some funny stuff on there too. But thank you for interacting and thank you for coming into this. And we sure enjoyed having you guys. And we'll see everybody again. Now on Tuesday, we're going to be replaying this because that's my usual night is on Tuesday. So we'll be replaying this for my normal night, which is Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock Central Time. And thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. Um, and Richard said it's a great show. Ben, good night, honey. I hope you feel better. I hope this is really helping you. I've been praying for you. Um, so, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I am. I'm feeling a lot better. Well, it. I could be feeling all pukey, and I would have been feeling better than what I was. But things are much better now. Thanks, Ben. So, everybody, good night, and we'll see you again next Tuesday night when this replays. And then we'll be having another show the following Tuesday after that. And remember, we've got Blaine Rohan that comes to the show. We used to have him once a month, but now he's gotten to be so busy with him and Lee and Matt are doing all kinds of things. And so he's going to be coming every other month now. And I'm just glad to have him. I mean, I don't care how much time he gives me. I just like having him. So, everybody, take care, and we'll be seeing you soon. Good night, everybody.